Welcome. So I burnt out because of 5 mindsets: taking on too much work, chasing every opportunity, pleasing everyone, panicking about being behind, and living impossible expectations set by myself. If these sound like you, stay with me. Welcome to our live stream on stopping the thoughts that are driving burnout. You don't need to get there if you stop the thoughts driving it. So, this is a wonderful Tuesday morning, sunshine in Vancouver, where I am for the summer. Hope everyone is doing well. If you're here, it might be that you're not doing so well, and that is okay. I've been there just last year, where things don't look so bright, where you don't know how to move forward, you don't know what next step to take, and you feel absolutely exhausted. If this is you, you're in the right spot, because I'm here to help. So how are we going to get through that? It is going to be about 30 minutes. I tend to go a bit over because I actually want you to hear the messages here. I want to actually help, but it's all for you. And if any one thing you can take from this, it's a positive, it's a win. So definitely do take notes. These slides do go up in our school community. So if you want the slides, if you want the material, please do check that out. Please join the community in order to access these really good insights as to what drove me to burnout. And because I want to help you stop that before you reach where I was. So that happy, terrific Tuesday. You may not feel it just yet, but you will do after this session. So let's get into it. What we're going to talk about is stopping the thoughts to burnout, because you're not burning out because you're weak. You're burning out because of your inner chat. It's wired for pressure, it's wired for guilt, and it's wired for self-sacrifice. And it's in a system that rewards these behaviors. So it's the behaviors, the implications of these behaviors. It makes us act in a certain way, and those actions lead to our results. So if you're not satisfied with the results that surround you, this is certainly for you, because this will add that clarity that you want. And you'll start to recognize when the thoughts pop into your head, and you'll have the strategies, the rephrases, phrasing things slightly differently makes all the difference. So let's rewrite those thoughts to actually serve you. Have you met anyone that's caught or set in their ways? Hard to change, they're set in their beliefs, set in their thoughts. Well, we need people that are open-minded today, because this is really about changing those initial thoughts in our head. And you will see the power in this if you give it a try. So just take the next week to give this a try, recognizing those thoughts, and then changing them as you go through. You'll see the energy uplift, and that change. So let me just give you an example here. If you were to say, I'm feeling tired, I'm feeling drained, I'm feeling unsuccessful, you can sort of feel the weight on you, and you're not really feeling empowered or energetic or wanting to actually do the task. But if you then say, I'm energetic, I can do this, I'm ready for this, it's got that energy within you, and it powers you through. So that is the power of thoughts. It can either serve you, or it can actually drain you and make you hide, make you sort of go into a spiral. So that is what we're here to change. So let's get to it. Be open and hear me out on these. So first of all, why are we tackling the beliefs and the thoughts? And the reason is because beliefs drive our thoughts. So I used to believe that I was not good enough, right? And so that would then put me, make me think that I'm lesser than other people. So when I was in a room full of, say, superiors, right? So if I was the most junior person in the room, I was like, no, I'm not, I shouldn't be here, right? I shouldn't really speak my mind because I don't know enough, right? I'm not good enough. And then that would drive actions. I wouldn't speak up. I wouldn't speak my mind. And then that would drive results because I wouldn't speak my mind. I was hidden and I wasn't necessarily visible. I wouldn't get those results that I wanted. So beliefs drive thoughts, thoughts drive actions, actions drive results, and then results are the evidence that then form our beliefs. Thinking that, oh, they only promote these sorts of individuals, they only promote their favorites. Making that storyline, that connection between, we make that meaning behind our results. And that story, that meaning that we give it, that is then forming our beliefs. And it's a cycle. And we can get into that cycle, we can get into that spiral, and that is the dangerous spot. So if you look around and you don't like your results, let's change those results by first changing our beliefs and our thoughts. So these are the types of thoughts leading to burnout. What are they? They are, first, the over responsibility. Second is the loss of opportunities, losing out on opportunities such as promotions, such as projects that are going to give you visibility. Then it's the people pleasing, seeking approval from others, feeling like you've got to get the ability to be popular in order to get the promotion, have everyone like you, have all of the managers that you work for, all the bosses like you in order to belong, right? And then the fourth one is fear of falling behind. So I certainly felt this. There was a certain timeline that you had for each of the levels in the big four consultancy firms. And if you missed a year, it felt like there was a weight because it was going to be harder the next year and harder the year after. And so that, the pressure to make the pace at which the expectations were, the fear of falling behind. I can't do this, otherwise I'm going to fall behind. It can hold us back. And then the fifth is the expectations, the pressure that we put on ourselves in particular, the high standards, the perfectionism that can lead to burnout. So this is what we're all about today. It is about these 5 elements here. But first, let me tell you a story. So do you want to hear a story? Story time? All right. So what we've got is just even this week, I found myself in one of these situations. So have you ever looked around and everyone's enjoying life and you're then stuck, in a corner doing the work that they should be sharing, right? Have you ever been in that situation? And how did it feel? Did it feel frustrating or irritating? Or could it have built resentment? Particularly if it's over time, it could build resentment. How I got there was I said, I'll do it because it will then be done properly and I'll avoid the problems. So what was the situation? It's actually a family situation, right? You might be able to relate to this. So there I was setting the table, and I was always the one to set the table. I was always the one to help in the kitchen. The reason is because my mom said that, I just do it properly. It's just easy when, I do it. And so then it formed an expectation. So I was always the go-to for the, requests. If I was around, it would be me that did it, right? So setting the table, helping chopping, the kitchen, things like that. So I ended up being her number 2. And if she wasn't cooking that day, it would have been me. But I wasn't the only one capable. But the challenge is that I knew that if I set the table, everything would be there. The salt, the pepper, the glasses, the napkins, everything. But if my siblings set the table, it'd be the placemats and the cutlery. But not everything would be on the table. And it would create, a bit of possibly frustration within the family if they were, looking for something and it wasn't there. So in order to keep the peace, I said, I'll do it because I know I can do it properly. I know what to expect and so on. So that can also lead to overwork. While they're enjoying the conversations, networking, and so on, I was in the background doing the work. So that then spills into the work situation. I would do things properly in the background while other people were doing the networking, discussing things with the stakeholders. That was one of my problems. Have you done this as well? Where you've said it'll just be easier if I do it. I'll avoid problems if I just do it. This leads to overwork. It sets expectations, and it can build resentment, frustration, irritability. So how do we tackle that? How do we rewrite the expectations? Well, first, I had to take a step back. And it's okay if someone else does it and they don't quite do it right. That's fine. I can coach them, I can guide them. And if something is missed, that's okay too. Because then it also highlights the difference between what they pull off and what I pull off. Because another challenge I had was not being appreciated, not being recognized for my efforts, not being recognized for going above and beyond and the high quality of work that I delivered. Because I always did it and I always covered. But if I didn't cover, people would notice the difference. People would appreciate the difference more. And people would be reminded of that every day. So it's not about always absorbing the shared problem, but rather allowing people to recognize it. But it's not sort of setting people up to fail. I can still coach them, right? But it's okay for things to go wrong. So that was a lesson learned from this week. And there's lessons each and every day. So we're going to go through them. These are the 5 thoughts leading to burnout. The over-responsibility, which is the one I just talked about. It is an example that I just gave from this week, but it was in more of a personal situation, a family situation, but it spilled into work as well. It was a habit I happened to do. It was a thought that kept on recurring. And the second is losing opportunities. Third, people pleasing. Fourth, fear of falling behind. And fifth, expectations. So, over responsibility. First of all, like I said, sharing, the shared problems, I was absorbing those. They would form precedents and expectations. So over time, my family started to expect that I was going to be the one to set the table. I was going to be the one to chop the vegetables and things like that. Similar to work, I was the one that would always pull through. I had that reputation. I had the reputation of always delivering quality, no matter what type of team members I was given, even if they weren't the right level. They assumed I would be able to cover. So all of those assumptions, all of those expectations, I was absorbing those problems of the firm. So what do I need to do? Let go. I need to let go. So if you said these statements, I'll do it because then it'll be done properly and I'll avoid problems. If I don't do it, no one else will. It's just easier and faster if I do it. This is all self-sacrifice and control. So what if you were to let go of all of this? Let go. If someone doesn't do the job properly, that's okay. Let it play out. I cannot take on all of the world's potential problems. And how can I do that? I can delegate. I can guide instead of do. So I wasn't always the best delegator. I was inconsistent because it felt like high stakes, high risk situations, high risk projects. But that's okay. If the firm's not giving me the resources I need, that's the firm's problem, not mine. So this then avoids the overwork, avoids the assumptions and expectations. It rewrites them. And the difference between what I deliver and what an understaffed project delivers, that difference will be highlighted. So stop absorbing others' work because that results in overload and the emotional load. So the second one is the loss of opportunities, FOMO, right? So the fear of saying no due to consequences. So have you ever sort of said yes rather than no because of your job security, fear of losing your job, fear of losing out on the promotion, or future projects? I have. Because there's future projects. If I say no to this person, they're always going to go to another person for their projects, thinking that. But that's not always the case. So the fear of the loss is real. But how we manage the communication is what's important. So first, the key thing to note is to enhance communication. How we say no is what is key. So how can we do that? That is using the AAA approach. First, to appreciate. To acknowledge. So acknowledge that the importance of the project, the importance of the task. This then makes the person feel like they're not coming to you with a mundane problem or something like that, even though it might be. But the importance of the problem to that individual is key. The second is appreciate. So appreciate the individual coming to you with the opportunity. If you show the appreciation, they'll then come to you again. Because if you don't appreciate, they might feel, okay, well, I thought this opportunity would be good for this individual, but she clearly didn't want it. She clearly thought other things were more important. So I'm not going to go to her with future opportunities. These two elements will help avoid the loss of future opportunities. And the third is alternatives. So I might not necessarily be able to help out in the moment, but I can perhaps help next week. Or if we change the scope, or I might be able to help out with an element of it. So timing and scope alternatives are key to managing the boundaries. Relationships are vital for the corporate climb. They're so key. It's about everything we do because the decisions are emotional. The decisions about promotion, the decisions about who stays in the firm, they're going to keep the people that they want. And they'll make reasons why to keep them. You probably have been on the wrong side of that before, but it's true. So be on the right side of it by learning how to communicate using the 3 AAA approach. They acknowledge, they appreciate, and the alternatives. So the third, we're going through all of these. Is this powerful? Is this helpful for you? So the third is people pleasing. This probably has a lot of us. I'm sure that this is more than half of us. So people pleasing. This is the seeking of approval. So it shows up as struggling with enforcing our boundaries, avoiding difficult conversations because we don't want conflict, and absorbing other people's problems. So absorbing the urgency, taking on the problems in terms of if they've got an understaffed project, I'll help out even though I don't have time. So it's all that absorbing that we're doing. So you might come up in phrases such as, I don't want to disappoint people. If I say no, they'll think I'm not committed. Or I don't want to be the problem. I don't want to be labeled as difficult. I certainly have had that statement in my head. I don't want to be labeled as a difficult one. So yes, I'll do it, even though I don't have capacity. So this is seeking approval or conflict avoidance. So how can we avoid this? This is important. So we can do it by building self-trust. And self-trust is so important amongst everything that we do. Self-trust and self-confidence. This is the alignment. So how can we build self-trust? We can do that through making sure that we keep our small commitments. And with each decision, we ask ourselves, is this aligned to my values and vision of who I want to become? So if it's aligned to my future potential, is this expanding my life or just keeping me safe in the comfort zone? So we have to live in discomfort to grow and expand our lives, to actually reach our potential, because growth lives in discomfort. People-pleasing habits are basically just saying yes when you actually want to say no. So if you find yourself having a reluctant yes, pause and ask yourself, is this decision going to align with my future self? Is this decision who I want to be? Because if you don't, the misalignment is going to cost you a mental and emotional load, which then leads to exhaustion and burnout. It's a weight heavy that you don't need to carry. There are phrases, so I talk about this in the Clarity Under Pressure series. There are phrases that you can use in order to address, when you want to say no, but don't feel like you can. We go through all of this in Clarity Under Pressure series. So if you want more, absolutely take a look at that. The fourth is fear of falling behind. So I certainly had this because in the Big Four, I came up against adversity. So I made an early manager, and then when I hit manager, there was some adversity that I faced, and I felt like I was falling behind. And when I was doing that, I wasn't necessarily showing up in the right way. So this can lead to statements like, I don't want to fall behind. Everyone else seems fine. Everyone else seems to be getting ahead. So I should be fine. I should be able to do this. Or I can't say no because of possible consequences. This is another one where it might be holding us back from saying no. It's the fear of falling behind. So when we face that adversity, when we face those challenges, and we're not making the pace that we want to, the important thing is to unlearn the comparison culture, because that's where it's driven. We think we need to be a certain place, but we don't. We're on the right path. So let's unlearn the comparison culture. Comparisons are normal. It's how we learn. You're not going to be able to get rid of comparing yourself to others, comparing one thing versus another. It's how we actually learn life. So it's not about not doing comparisons, but it's rather rewriting the story that we place on it. So not letting it hold us back, but rather letting it serve us. So recognizing that we're each on our own path. I originally thought my path was going in the direction of partner in Vancouver, but that wasn't the case. I ended up going to London for over 10 years and overseas for 10 years. And it just took me on a completely different path, and my life has expanded. The amount of different experiences I've had expanded my life. So we think we might be on one path, but that's not necessarily the case. Everyone has their own path. Everyone has their own starting point. Everyone has their own strengths. Recognizing that is important. And also recognizing that we only compare what's visible to us. We might not necessarily be able to see what's going on behind the scenes, backroom deals, the starting point of the other person. They might have a father or a parent within the firm. They might have an uncle or some sort of relative that's helping them out. They might have an expanded network that you might not be able to see. Their strengths might be more in terms of speaking, but they might be weak in say other areas, right? So it's not, no one's perfect. And also with regards to the path, particularly in their career, there are some people that accelerate through certain levels and then go slower in others. It depends on the skill sets that's really being drawn from at that level. So don't be worried. We're all on our own path. We're all on our own space. And we can pace our progress what suits us. This will enable you to expand your mental bandwidth, because when you're in that comparison loop, it builds anxiety. You feel down about yourself, about your own accomplishments, because they don't feel good enough. But no one has it all. That loop will keep you weighed down. It will weigh on you each and every day. That mental and emotional bandwidth, lighten it. Because otherwise you're on a hamster wheel going nowhere. The exhaustion, the resentment, that builds burnout. So we're down to number 5, the fifth one, the expectations. This was once again me. So have you ever had high standards for yourself, just saying, I can handle it because I've handled worse? Or I'll rest when it calms down. Just like busy season for accountancy. I'll rest after busy season. Or I just need to push through. Have you ever had those statements go through your mind? Yeah. These are stress responses. Push through is basically adrenaline, proving yourself, proving your worth. I'll rest when things calm down. That's avoidance. And I've handled worse. That's minimalization. So what can we do? We can do self-compassion. So self-compassion is something that I was better with compassion for others than I was for myself. And certainly you might be the same. As a high achiever, it's something that we can struggle with. But the key thing here is when we say push through, let's just say I'm pacing myself as it gets me further. We each have our own pace. And also it can depend on a certain period of time. We might have a high pace at one period and a slower pace at another, and that is fine. I'll rest when things calm down. Switch that to rest is how things calm down. Making sure that you've got that break in each and every day. I've done the 20+ hour days. I know what it does to my body when I just keep on pushing. And it's not good. Don't recommend it. I've handled worse. We'll switch that to handling worse isn't the goal anymore. Just because I've handled it once doesn't mean I need to do it this time. So stop pushing yourself. Stop setting these extremely high expectations. As a high achiever, you can still have goals, but you don't need to push yourself so hard. We first have to look after ourselves before we can look after others. Before we can deliver to others' expectations and work, we first have to look after our own well-being. And that is not what I appreciated initially, but I do now appreciate it. Just like the plane, put your own oxygen mask on first and then help others. So, has this been helpful for you? Has this been powerful in terms of key messages? Because these thoughts running through your mind, they drain your energy, your mental and emotional energy, and they don't serve you. So it's about rewriting them. And if you want to elevate your game even to the next level, this is where the Clarity Under Pressure series comes in. I alluded to it before, but it really can take you from a drowning state to I've got this. So if this is you, if you want to learn more and if you want to thrive, this is the Clarity Under Pressure series. So first of all, we've got the communication and influence module. So this will get you from being where you are to where you want to go, because it's all about communication. Communication is everything what we do. Like I said, being silent in the corner, doing all the work, that's not going to get you promoted. That's not going to get you progressed. It's about communication. Even silence is communicating. And emotional intelligence, that will help you influence. Understand the emotions that are at play in the room, and using those emotions to influence the outcome. Influence the direction towards your vision. The third is all about rapid recovery and grounded presence, is identity and resilience. Bounce back faster than stress can hit. So this, we're all going to face setbacks. This is how you can, jump back up when you get knocked down. And the fourth is focus with intention. So in a world full of chaos, every day has its chaos, pings, messages, everything, people coming into your office, and it's focus with intention. So avoid the distractions. This is your competitive advantage because everyone is distracted these days. No one can do deep focus, but deep focus is so important. It's how we get through our work. It can shorten your days. So if you feel like you don't, like, no, you're just working too many hours, this is going to help you because it enables you to focus on the 20%. You know the 80-20 rule. 20% of the activities give you 80% of the value. So these are strategies that's going to help you be able to focus your day on the 20% and ignore the noise. And the last module is decision with uncertainty. So if you're facing that anxiety about not knowing which path to take, not knowing what right decision, what right next step is going to be, this will help you do the decisions and set you forward, not delay and procrastinate with regards to decisions. So where do you want to be a year from now, right? Do you want that promotion, that good, well, not even good, but great work-life balance, a joyful life? Because we are already 8 months into almost 9 months into 2026. And is 2026 looking exactly like 2025? If you're going to live 100 years, don't live the same year 100 times. Don't make 2026 look exactly like 2025. This is your opportunity to transform your life. Take one step forwards towards your vision and your goals. So our Clarity Under Pressure series, this is going to take you from just surviving the workday to truly thriving. So invest in yourself first if you expect others to do the same. Just think about that. Invest in yourself first if you expect others to do the same. How can we expect others to invest enough in us if we are not willing to invest in us? Others will follow if you lead. So by far the best investment you can make is in yourself. And if you invest in yourself, nobody can take that away from you. That is said by one of the most successful business men alive today. That's Warren Buffett said that best investment is in yourself. So take advantage of this limited time live stream exclusive discount of 40%. I can't believe it. It's already 40%. And it's just for you guys. So it's just exclusive for this live stream. And take advantage of it. This is your chance. This is your calling for investing in yourself. And control your destiny or someone else will, right? Take action. Invest in yourself, because otherwise you're just pleasing other people's visions. You're just moving their vision forward and not your own. Where do you want to be? Who do you want to be? The choice is yours. Take some actions today. Like I said, take one action in terms of rewriting those thoughts in your head today. You can also apply the Clarity Under Pressure discount. The discount code is Clarity, all capitals. Clarity is the discount. It's a tremendous discount, and it's only for a short-term basis. We also have another live stream this Thursday where I talk greater amount about burnout, the key lessons, the biggest lessons I learned from my burnout. So join us for that live stream, and thank you for joining this live stream. We did go a bit over, but not as much as previous times. I do try and deliver to you because I do care and want that to make sure that you actually have some key takeaways from this session. So if you want more insights, join our school community. If you want the slides, join our school community. You can do that using the website here. And we also have much more coming on Thursday. So join us for that live stream, and you've got some things that you can take away from today. So please do that. Use the discount, use the slides in terms of rewriting those thoughts, and join us again on Thursday. Have a great, terrific Tuesday and a wonderful rest of the week. See you next time.